Good evening, and thank you for attending this important and hopefully informative gathering. I believe it's important for our residents to understand the basic guidelines for our water resource program. I will digress for a minute and say, tell your friends and neighbors they have to look at Facebook from the town, and they have to look at our website, and they have to read what's on the water bill. There are only so many ways we can communicate with them, and if it's not working, everyone's going to say, well, I didn't know and you didn't tell me. Well, yes, we did, but other than the alderman, there's like 6 of you here. That's pretty bad, because this stuff is important and it's going to affect the future. So this is my notes. There are no minutes taken, there's no treasurer's report, there's no nothing. It's just me bringing you up to date as to what's going on in the world of water. First of all, you have to understand that water and sewer is covered by what they call the enterprise fund. The enterprise fund has nothing to do with the general operating fund of like police, fire, streets, administration, all that. That's the general fund. The enterprise fund is only water and sewer, and the two cannot lend to each other or borrow from each other or do anything with each other. They're completely separate, period. And that's important, because people may say, well, if you have some money there, why can't you transfer it over here? You cannot. Right now, there are 2 sets of rates for inside and outside the city limits, based on projections that may go away, because we were told that there's one rate for everybody that we supply water to. So there may not be inside rate, outside rate any longer. There should not be, and this is, I'll get to it in a little bit later, but just so you know as an outline, there should not be 2 consecutive years of loss in the enterprise fund operating account. And I say operating account because there's a commercial component to that. And this does not include the capital expenditures. So let me read some highlights to you. Monteagle utility rate increase in July of 2023 was the first rate increase that the town has had in over 10 plus years. At that time, or the time of July 2023, the town's inside rate was increased by 2%, and we tried to keep it minimal, which we'll get to. There are projected costs that we have done and have to do, and I'm sorry, I'm just waiting for some family news. The first water tank by the fire department was a projected cost of $370,000. The DuBose tank, which they're working on now at the end of DuBose Street, is also projected at $370,000. And you say, well, so? Well, we can't get grant money for that because TDEC considers that maintenance. So there's no funding available for that. Sewer rehab is projected at $1,655,000, and that there is a grant for, and that's the famous I&I project. So we're working on I&I's inflow and infiltration, where stormwater gets into sewer lines, which goes to our plant, and that makes our plant more expensive to operate and reduces the plant's capacity. So the goal is to take the stormwater that's leaking into our sewer plant and have that separate and dealt with separately, but not to go to the plant. And then we have water treatment basin which TDEC has asked us to address, and that projected cost is $250,000. I don't think we can get a grant for that. They may call that maintenance as well. The other thing is a town or city, and this is getting to the punchline. A town or city in Tennessee which has 2 years of operating losses in a row is reported to the Tennessee Water and Wastewater Financing Board. The board will take steps to help that town or city get out financial steps. For instance, the board will start by making the town or city have a rate study. We've looked at that, Mayor and Alderman have looked at it. That's probably in excess of $5,000 just for a rate study. And I don't know the up-to-date. Which at this point, the state has the ability to force the town or city to increase water and sewer rates that they feel will get the town out of financial stress. Okay, unfortunately, we have that to year, well, 1 year definite, this next year projected to be a water loss. What we're trying to do is come up with minimal impact, but still be proactive and show the state, yeah, we did one rate increase. We did do one rate increase, and we're doing another one, so you don't have to worry about it. So if that's the case, we should be fine. Now, what does all that mean? That means if we have the 2 years of operating, the state may set the rates. We did that to be proactive, and this is what we want to show the city, 2% increase in the billing again. So we can say, well, we raised it 4% this year. Granted, it wasn't a full year increase, but we're doing all that we can do based on our population, our income, et cetera, et cetera. Because they expect, I guess, a town of 2,000, according to information, to cover operations that Nashville has to cover. Now, granted, the numbers are different in population and dollars, I understand all of that, but the requirements are the same. So there will be another 2% increase after 2 readings at the January and February meetings of the mayor and aldermen. That's if the aldermen agree. So you won't see the increase until it appears on the March bill. So it's not that we're saying, yes, this is going to happen tomorrow. There's a whole process for this, and of course we plan on following that process. So it'll take 2 readings if we do it at the 2%, and it'll appear on the March bill of your water and sewer charges. So, as I say in closing, we continue to need to be proactive. We no longer have inside and outside water rates, and we plan to show by us taking action and working on the capital improvements, the state will grant us more time. And I just felt that we needed a town hall meeting, so whoever attended, and tell your friends and neighbors, this is why we're doing this. It's not that we woke up one day and said, yeah, we need more water, it's more money. It's only for water and sewer. We have a plant of each, 1 water plant, 1 sewer plant. Both have licensed operators. So we're complying with as much as we comply with. Our engineer, Travis Wilson, sent a letter to TDEC saying, we did 1 tank, we're going to do the other tank, we're doing this, we're doing that. And he got a favorable response back. It did not address the rates, just showing the work that we were doing. So the only other thing I have is questions, comments, if there is anything. If not, I understand. But we don't have a lot of leeway. If this was the general fund, it'd be something to talk about. The state, while they approve the budget, and incidentally, I don't want to get into that fund, but I wound up with an email from the comptroller saying that our budget for this year has been approved. So that's how far down the line it goes. It goes from our office to a CPA that prepares documents for the auditor that goes to the state comptroller. So it's not that we're looking for something to do in our spare time. But does anyone have any questions or comments, or you all kind of get the gist? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I'm sorry, and who am I speaking with?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Greg Maloof. I'm the mayor of Mount Eagle.
Exactly. Now, you said that there was like a 2% increase. How do your bills go up 60% then?
Well, that could either be use or a loss, but the rate is a 2% increase. Why it went up more, I don't know. But that's a very good question. And again, it's size of house, number of occupants, number of fixtures, et cetera, et cetera.
And how can your meters show that you've actually used significant amounts of water when you weren't even in the state?
Who wasn't in the state?
When someone wasn't even at their home in the entire state of Tennessee.
Well, that's it. It could be a leak.
Well, I'm in construction. If you have a leak, it's continuous. It isn't just one time.
Right.
So how could there be a usage when no one was even there?
I don't know that. But that's something that I would invite you to come to the... Well, let me answer that one. I would invite you to come to the office tomorrow or at your convenience, and let's take a look at that. You're telling me it was a one-time bill that spiked?
Correct.
And nobody was there and nobody was doing any work?
Correct.
And you're sure there's no... Did you check the little wheel on the meter? Is it going around?
Again, I'm in construction and I know exactly what I'm speaking about.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I just want to know, is the meter wheel going around? Because that may be part of
would
the
be
problem.
property manager looks at that,
Oh, all right, so you own it, but you have a management
Correct.
company that takes care of it?
correct.
Yeah, okay.
Next thing, there were 7 months of interest charges when the bill was paid in advance.
The bill was paid what?
The bill had money paid in advance. Why were there interest charges for 7 months when the money was there waiting to be withdrawn?
I don't know, you mean automatic payment by the bank?
I'm saying it was Citra. It was actually paid in advance, and there were 7 months of interest charges when the money was
Oh,
already there.
that, I don't know. I mean, at this meeting,
How
I
could
don't
that
know.
occur?
But I don't know. The short answer is I do not know. But we can certainly look at that and research it. I mean, if, why you say Citra is,
They pay it in advance, like LIHEAP.
do they have your mortgage, is that it?
No, it's actually a significant payments that are actually made way in advance for the 6 months, 7 months. And the payments are there, they're waiting.
No, I
How can there
understand
be an
that part.
interest charge for 7 months when it was already there to be paid in advance?
Well, then why wasn't it paid?
Well, it was withdrawn from the utility.
It was,
It was withdrawn from the utility because it was in advance.
well, all right, then that's a computer bookkeeping question that we can look at tomorrow. I don't know. I had never heard of that. I've heard of making
Nor
payments.
have I. I've never experienced that in all the properties, and I've owned properties in 3 different states.
Well, good, but what I'm trying to say is, I didn't know of any where they hold it in advance waiting to be drawn. I know that they put it in the mortgage payment, that you might want to include taxes, insurance, utility charges, those kinds of things. That's usually through the mortgagee. But to say that somebody was holding money.
If you'd like to meet with me, I can actually show you that. I have it printed out.
Yeah, I'd like to meet with you tomorrow, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, just call first, make sure I'm in the office, and we'll make sure we get
Anytime.
together. Usually in by 8.
Well, those charges actually created a great hindrance for the next cycle of the payments in advance.
Yeah, well, I'm not familiar with any of that, but
And I'll
we'll
have
look
to
at it
explain
tomorrow.
that to you.
yes. Any other questions or comments? Okay, then we know what's coming. Tell your friends and neighbors, but we'll need to act on this, because the last thing you want is the state to come in, tell us to do a rate study, and then they set the rates. I don't think anyone is in favor of the state setting our water rates. Is that a
So
stretch or
when-
a question?
Yeah, it's a question. When we look at this at our next meeting, are we going to have some projected numbers so we can see some projected shortfalls so we can get an idea of?
Well, I'll try to get those, who knows? A lot of this, of course, is depending on usage. Is the projection, some of it could be future water taps, that's income to this enterprise fund. There are other variables, as you know, as well as anyone, so we can take a look at that and see what information you want to discuss this.
It would be helpful to know whether this 2% was something that is actually going to get us across the finish line, or whether it's just,
No, it's what we felt at the time, if you recall, a minimum to show that we're doing something for the state, to be proactive. I don't think the next 2% is going to eliminate all our deficits and all our problems in the water department and sewer department, no. But larger than that, I'm trying to think, and I know the aldermen have thought about this in the past, is who is our audience? How much of an increase can we pass on in the name of water and sewer? So small increments we thought might help, but it's not going to take us to solve all our problems. Yeah,
Okay, so our water went up 2%, or will go up 2%. What does that mean per gallon, per unit? What's a unit? How much does it cost?
well, it's based on your water bill. The first, I think, 1,000 or 2,000 will be a number, and then another percentage for the next amount of gallons. However your water is calculated.
I don't know.
I don't either.
Mhm.
I just want you to know that this is why we're doing this kind of thing, and there'll be discussion, obviously, at the city meetings, but the last thing I would personally want to see is the state setting water rates. because I suspect it'll be a lot more than 4% if we go with Alderman Wilson's comment.
How does the cost of our water compare with other towns our size?
Cheap.
So, what?
You say
It's cheap.
Yeah, there you go.
Swanee's, average Swanee water bill is $125.
Wow.
And what's our average? What's our average water bill?
Minimum usage, mine's $17.90.
Uh-huh.
And it went up 85 cents, 2%.
Okay.
Made it go up 85 cents. So now I'm drinking coffee at home.
I understand.
At least you didn't get 60% increase.
2%, 85 cents on a minimum.
And what's your name? So I know who's calling me tomorrow?
My name's Tina,
Tina?
Tina Thomas.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, on our Facebook page, it says tomorrow's gonna be a water shut-off day. Is that like for non-payment of bills?
Yes,
It's not like a maintenance and water's gonna be shut off?
no.
Mayor, what if the state does not accept this 2% that we're doing?
Well, I don't know. I hope to negotiate. I hope they see that we're doing a lot of the work that they wanted, that there is no grant money for, and that's where our money has been going. And the best we can do is argue, because if, for an example, they want 6%, we can say, well, you already got 4, you know, that kind of thing. And it'll be negotiation, hoping the state understands. But to me, it was better than saying, well, we haven't done anything, we're waiting for you to tell us what to do. You know, that side of the argument, so. But it's an issue, and there's a whole history, as there is in everything in every town. It's not blame or anything else, but we're at this point, and now we have to see what we're going to do to move forward.
So
And
we're,
when did the municipality actually come into play?
Do what?
When did the municipality of this town come into play with the water utility?
Well, as it addresses the enterprise fund, which is a separate operation, we don't have a water board or a board of utilities. So the mayor and aldermen will agree to set the water rates, and that's what we did the first time. That's what we'll do this next
Is there
time.
a
if they want.
Tennessee code for municipalities actually having like violations of civil rights, of people's civil rights?
Not that I know of. I mean, you get a water bill from a utility, do you have a bill of rights with Sequatchie Electric? Or natural gas company, or the propane
properties around here,
company?
I've dealt with, 5 generations.
Uh-huh.
5 generations, so, and of course, some of us aren't even on sewer systems, so are we being charged for sewer system
No.
if we're not even on it?
No, how could you be? No. You get a water
I mean,
charge. There's
that's
water
not-
customers that might be over 1,000, and there are sewer customers that might come to 300. So, no, if you're not on sewer, you're not charged.
Right, and of course, 5 generations ago, it wasn't even fully, city then, some
That's
parts
right.
of it.
There were wells, there were big pumps that brought it up out of the caverns. There was a lot of things
Exactly.
different. I know.
Probably a lot cleaner too.
Well, we're here now. So whatever happened, happened for whatever reasons, but we're here now.
But the municipality of Monteeville itself, when did it actually become a start?
1962, we were incorporated.
And then there were certain parts of Monteeville parts of Summerfield that weren't even city properties until it got expanded.
I'm sure there's a whole history prior to my arrival. I don't know that. I mean, there are parts in town that are in and out of the city limits across the street.
The utility district has grown over the years. I've been here since 1964. The utility district has grown. Water wasn't available where I lived in Summerfield in '64 when we moved here. My father dug a well. We had a well. When the utility district started growing and moving out into the area, and my dad got tired of buying filters for Irony Water well, he signed on with a water tap and got city water. Well, that dwelling is no longer ours, but it still gets city water. And that's the same thing that happened to your home that you're talking about, because it's got a well too. And the city water came out there, and in the agreement, when you took agreement to have a water tap put in and water supplied to your house, you automatically signed on for water usage. The city of Monteagle does not charge for water. We charge for the delivery of water to your house. That's all we charge for. You can't sell water in America. You can only charge to deliver it to your house. And that's the only thing you're paying for. Every gallon, it's tabulated by a meter. A meter could be faulty. You could have a leak. July of this year, my toilet ran over and my bill was $57. Well, I started looking for something and I found it. But those things happen. But the fact of the matter is, the water usage thing, as the mayor has just explained, we don't want the state to come in and mandate it. That's exactly what they did in Sewanee. They ran water lines all the way to Jump Off.
Who supplies the water to Swanee?
What's that?
Who supplies Swanee water?
The Sewanee Utility District.
That's in Franklin though, right?
No, it's in Franklin County, but it's Sewanee Utility District. They pay their water bill in Sewanee just like you pay your water bill in Monteagle. And their utility district, when they got all the surge to take a 6-inch line to Jump Off and incurred $2 million, somebody had to pay that bill. So,
Well, when you're speaking about the hard water and iron water, I used to work for Rainsoft, and I'm familiar with the systems that actually can
Rainsoft didn't got nothing to do with delivering water to your house.
But it actually has the ability to actually filter your water properly. I used to actually sell those systems.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with Rainsoft.
And,
But that's a whole different, that's just a water filter
well, that goes to
company.
one of my other
For
properties.
inside city and
Yes.
outside city.
Yes.
One of my
So
other
is that-
properties
Okay.
actually has that.
So when we talk about this 2% rate increase, we're gonna be talking even higher inside city limits, right?
Well, no, it'll be 2% inside city limits, but it won't affect the outside city limits.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna be
Because-
working on.
Yeah, that's something else, is
Okay,
to get to that goal, so there's one water rate.
okay.
You
Okay,
said
anything
that-
else?
You said that's mandated?
The what?
That's a mandated
Yeah.
inside and outside the city?
No, but so we can't do two rates like that. Anything else?
And so when do you want to start talking about this as a council? In January, did you say?
Well, I may even bring it up at the November meeting, if we have information enough to start a discussion.
Well, in your discussion there, you were stating that there were certain months. I want to gather this again. You're stating that the increase of the water is like year-round, or is it only certain months? The cost?
We haven't increased water rates but one time in 10 years. So there's no set time.
Well, yes, I'm familiar with that.
Well, there's
Again,
no set time that any of it's been done.
and as far as people who signed on with the water utilities, all those people are deceased now that we're speaking about. So I'm just another generation.
Okay, that's fine, whatever it is, when the water increase is enacted, like the previous 2%, it's on the bill forever. There's no cycles, and it's a monthly water bill, as you know. So that's the best answer I can give you. Anything else? Well, thank you for coming. Please tell your friends and neighbors. We'll be discussing it again, but we'll see how it goes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.